Hello everyone, Galidorn back again, playing Raid at Shadow Legends. So lots going on today, from Clan vs Clan to the middle of the Titan event with all the activities. But first, I'm just going to go in and show you what transpired since my last video and this one.
English is not my first language.
I'm just going to go and look how the events and tournaments ended up for me in that period. Okay, so just quickly go in and show you how the events ended up, the Dungeon Divers event and the Champ Training event. So here, this is before the fact.
Don't summon us with time! You don't with time!
I actually went on, I did claim that barrel. I did a bit more of the Dungeon Divers, and I claimed the barrel at 4,500 points. And in the Champion Training event, I went all the way up, did lots of Champion Training, and finally picked up that Primal Shard.
But who cares?
Okay, so if we look into the past tournaments, the Fire Knight Turn Attack and the Champion Chase. Okay, so looking at the where I ended up in the Fire Knight Turn Attack, as you can see, I did get all the rewards all the way up the right side.
What side was that, Private Pile? Sir, right side, sir!
And managed to squeeze my way into the top 10 with a 6th place finish. Picked up the 75 gems, which is really just a rebate. It's not like a reward, it's just a rebate of all the stuff that you spent. And a crappy chest. I think I got some like Forge charms or something. I didn't even get any energy or anything decent out of it. Now onto the Champion Chase. So in the previous video, I had worked my way up into 3rd spot, but as anticipated, I dropped down because I stopped basically pulling. I pulled green shards after that for a few points. But I fell down to number 5. It's still good. I got 2 Mortal Soul Stones and some Relentless Gear. Blue, it was probably pretty crappy. But anyway, it was a decent showing. As you can see, I got up to the points and then I stopped and I didn't go any further. I held on to my shards.
Ha! Gay!
If we look at the current state of the schedule in Plarium play, right now it's Tuesday the 24th. We're right smack dab in the middle of the Faehammer Titan event. Also, Clan vs Clan popped up today. And look at this, I want to lay out and discuss that what I think is going on here is now that the Titan events have become a standard thing after fusing a champion, pretty much always, I guess, to get souls for that champion.
Nobody is born with a soul.
And with the last fusion being somewhat easy to complete,
What's this bullshit?
I think now the focus is going on easing the ability to get the champion through the fusion.
No, I don't think so.
Although some things are still, quite hard to attain. I think now the focus is shifting once you have spent all your resources on the fusion, that's when they hit you with a Titan event, and a Titan event becomes quite difficult. Because as you can see here, we have 2 dungeon tournaments basically piggybacking on each other.
Oh, that's not right. No.
Creating interference between each other, if you want to look at it that way. And the Spider tournament, in particular, had the Barbarian-only component. And that makes something like the Spider extremely difficult. Spider is the legacy dungeon, the old school dungeon, that takes the most specialization, I guess you could say, to make a proper team for it. And to be able to farm enough for points just using a certain faction or some other restriction becomes quite difficult. Now they piggyback that with the Odin's Trial Tournament, being a brand new dungeon with a very, very difficult boss. This takes quite a lot of specialization as well, and is quite difficult in its own regard. And because it's new, there are not as many specialized teams made up that you would find in the old legacy dungeons. And so they've piggybacked these 2 together, essentially ramping up the difficulty level quite a lot. And then upcoming we have the Adventure Deck of Fate. So a lot of people speculated that Freya might be involved in the Deck of Fate, but it looks like it's just going to be points. And here as well, makes it quite difficult for people to count on getting points. It probably would have been better for the player base to actually have Freya as some part of the Deck of Fate. But putting in the points to get the Thor souls means that to ensure yourself of getting all the points you need to be able to complete the entire deck, which we do not have a idea of what will be involved in this. Now, I don't think it's going to be shard summoning, since we've had all our 2Xs and quite a lot of shard summoning up to this point. I would be surprised if there's shards involved in this.
You fool. You absolute buffoon.
However, there is a Dungeon Divers event overlapping, so there may be a get artifacts and accessories component to it. Now, also, we see in here, this is one of those ones where they give you the artifacts. So that's actually a very good one to do in terms of what you gain for it, because you get all these really, really good artifacts from some of the best artifact sets, newer artifact sets in the game. But having to get the points on it kind of sucks. Now, I'm going to guess that Soul Stones might be involved in this one, I think. Something tells me that Soul Stones might be involved in this. Everything's been a bit shard heavy of late.
I just sharded.
Maybe even some champ training involved here, because they certainly have sucked out a lot of champ training resources. So I'm going to guess it's going to be artifacts and accessories with either Soul Stones and champ training. Or who knows, maybe it could be champ training, Soul Stones, and artifacts and accessories. And of course we got Ice Golem, and we do not know if there's going to be any kind of restrictive element to the Ice Golem.
Fucking bullshit!
Again, it doesn't say anything here, but that doesn't mean it won't be restrictive. Now let's get to the elephant in the room. The warm-up event, and it doesn't say fusion warm-up event, but generally that's what you would be led to believe. A warm-up event is for the fusion. Starting right when the Faehammer Titan event is still on.
What the fuck?
It'll be on like for another third of its length, I do believe, as the Titan event ends on the 30th. With the warm-up event, I believe it will extend beyond the 30th. I think this is just the cutoff point for the current schedule, and it will continue on past this point. However, I honestly can't understand them throwing a fusion without any break. So essentially they'll be starting another fusion up right at the end of the Titan event without giving any break in between. That would seem a little bit ridiculous on behalf of Plarium. People might say, well, it's the, it's the Halloween fusion. Yeah, well, September's not over yet. Halloween is not till the end of October. There is space there to give a couple of weeks before you start another fusion.
The space between.
It just seems very, very, I don't want to say mean-spirited, but that's the only word that comes to my mind. If that is the case, them starting another fusion right on the tail end of a grueling Titan event. So anyway, that's where we stand on that in the schedule. Okay, so now that we've seen where we've been and what the upcoming schedule looks like, well, let's take a look at where we are. Alright, so as I said, today, Clan versus Clan started. Okay, so if you see here right now, we're really up against it. We're a clan that's 3 levels above us and has a lot of fairly active players. So a lot of them are participating. They built up quite a lead on us, almost to 100,000. We do have some time left, over a day. We haven't really hit our stride yet, but I'm sure these guys will contribute in quite a bit. But I'm not anticipating a victory here. Just mainly trying to get the clan rewards. And a lot of my contribution has involved my preparation for this spider tournament because of the restriction mentioned before, only using the Barbarians faction, which is quite difficult. And
Stop saying that!
I didn't really have anyone besides the new people that I got in Thor and Gregor to do work in the spider. So I took the opportunity to build out, level up, and ascend Thor and equip him out with his artifacts. I haven't got any masteries on him yet. Didn't put any books into him. I had one Lego book that I put into Valkyrie, actually. So I did use a Lego book for points, just not on Thor. But I did equip him with a full retinue of artifacts. I went with Fatal, Retaliation, and Zeal, mainly because of the damage stats they were giving. And I thought that Retaliation might work in the long run for him, because of his A1 ability. Then with Gregor, it did the same thing. Fully leveled, ranked up, and ascended Gregor. Kitted him out with a set of Relentless and a set of Speed. Was looking mainly for HP and speed HP because of the shield he puts up, and it came up to be relentless in speed because they had the best combination of stats that I was looking for. I even put a couple of the pinpoint accessories on him that I had. I had a couple of good pinpoint accessories. So in my leveling up of all this gear to see what was best for him and leveling him up, I managed to accumulate quite a lot of CVC points for myself.
Oh, good for you!
You can see here I went with HP on the chest and HP on the gauntlets, so I didn't envision him as any kind of damage dealer or anything, and it was relentless because they were the ones that had the best with HP stats on the chest and the gloves, and like I said, I wanted to get the HP in there for that shield. And it just so happened I had a pair of relentless speed boots with some HP stats on them. Yeah, I know it's a 5-star, not a 6-star. 5-star boots are the only piece of gear that I keep. Yeah, so the main thrust has been the Spider Tournament, still have a day left in it. And as you can see here, I'm only 45 points away from getting the points. And I'm going to do that in conjunction with the advanced quest I just got on reset. Of course, 3 artifacts accessories from clearing the dungeons. So I'll go in and complete that now.
Now!
So just a bit of background on what's been going on. I initially started out on stage 20, even tried a couple of stages up from that. With Armands and Thor, they could do it solo. I did it with some other chants, but it was taking a really, really long time, like 9 minutes, between 9 and 15 minutes, comparatively what stage I was farming. Stage 20, I was averaging around, I'd say 10 minutes per run, which was really quite unacceptable. And I tried working in different combinations, keeping Thor and Armands as my anchor for those teams, but none of them could really do it any faster than 9 minutes. And stage 20 is always generally the best for doing these Dungeon Divers events, stage 20 of normal, but it wasn't really working out for me here because of the time. Mainly because it hinged on the spider not taking a turn. I didn't have enough damage to get the spider down fast. Now, so I tried to go over to hard and build a team. I thought that maybe I could because a lot of my damage was AoE damage, and because on the hard spider it's killing the spiderlings, it hurts the spider. I thought maybe I could do that, but I just did not seem to have enough damage to kill the spiderlings quick enough, and the hard spider was able to consume them, and then because of its ability to increase its attack the more spiders it consumes, it started to nail me and killed me basically before the run was over.
Needless to say, casualties may be extreme.
Get it down somewhat in health, but then it would just come back and it would just destroy me.
You bitch!
So I spent a lot of time and energy on both the higher levels of normal and in hard before I finally settled on going down lower. Now I tried to do stage 10 and stage 11, and it was doing it in under a minute. However, the return I was getting was not enough in terms of points. So I decided to work my way up a bit. I finally settled on stage 16, which is where you are getting 6-star gear, but the energy requirements for super raids are at 28 before it went up to 32.
There's nothing to be afraid of, except for super raids.
And I found on stage 16 I could do it in a little over 3 minutes per run. So with the energy I was spending, the amount I was getting for return on energy, and the time, stage 16 was where I settled on with my team to farm for this tournament. So it means I had to do it a lot more. And it took me quite a lot of time and energy and screwing around.
Hey, don't screw around. You screw around too much.
Before I finally settled on this place for the tournament. So as you can see here, Thor, Armands, I put Jetney in there, Gregor, and Gregor, he's good, but he doesn't really help out with the damage, and of course Syl. I put Syl in here because, well, just in case the spiderlings tend to resist. Armands, from time to time, just got her in there as basically a backup. Put Jetney in there for damage, and Gregor in there for just the general boosting of the team. So we'll go in here, and we'll finish off those final points. Turn the gear setting filter off because it's stupid. The quest doesn't work with the auto cell, which is something I think Raid should change. It's dumb. You have to go in and turn off the filter. So 4 battles here should get me the amount I need to finish off this tournament. So pretty simple here. Armands is going to hit them. He's going to reduce the turn meters. They're never going to get a turn. And between Jetney and Thor, they just keep killing the spiderlings over and over again. Even Syl gets involved there. There he goes again. See, they don't ever get a turn. But the problem is that all my spider teams, yeah, they're all based on the spider needing to take a turn with smites and burns. Or in the case of hard, I'm doing poison exploding. But of course, I don't have any kind of element within my barbarians faction for that. And I don't have any HP burn or anything, so it's just straight damage. So the reason why it was taking so long is because, well, in normal anyway, and of course it wasn't working in hard. But the reason why it was taking so long in normal was because I had to wait for the champions themselves to DPS down the boss. And at the higher levels of normal, it was just not enough DPS, which just meant long grinding runs of chipping down the health over time, and that's why it took like 9, 10, 11 minutes. But as you can see here, they're working it down pretty good.
Finish second grade, I hope you can tell if you're doing good or doing well. Better.
I honestly thought that Jetney was probably going to do a lot more damage in here than she did. Of course, she is doing lots of damage to the spiderlings. She's just not a very good single target damage dealer. And again, you know, you don't really need to be killing the spiderlings here, because the spider's never getting a turn. And mostly neither are the spiderlings. Now, what will probably make Thor good for hard, but not good for normal spider, is the fact on his progressive AoE where he hits different targets in succession, and the last one gets the hardest hit. Doesn't really work here because he hits the spider first, so it means his weakest hit goes on the spider. And I tried to goof around and see if I could target, anticipate when it was coming up, and then target a spiderling before he hit it, like on auto, but it just, yeah, it didn't work at all, just a disaster. Alright, so you see there, just under 4 minutes for that run. That's a bit longer than it was usually taking. It was taking usually 3 minutes and a little bit. So you can see there, 4 wins, bunch of crap, everything 5 gets sold, and 4. Usually I don't have to deal with 4s.
You must feel the force.
Totally lame!
Well, I guess I was too hard on Jetney. I mean, she did keep up with Thor and Armand's on the damage. Armand's out damaging Thor. That's kind of a concern. Expected the Thor to be outperforming Armand's quite a lot. So we'll look at the tournament. And we see here, I didn't think I'd be able to do it actually. And there's even a day and 10 hours left. So actually wasn't that bad, I guess. 60 points. Now focus on the Odin's trial. And for the Odin's trial, 800 points for 20 is not bad at all. 2,650 is, again, it's a little bit more than you would get for fragments in a fusion.
No, yes. But I'd trade it all for a little more.
So again, they're pushing the Titan events to be a little bit more difficult than the fusions. So I have over 2 days here. I'm going to farm Odin's trial at 20. I am a few levels higher. However, they're not 100%. And it takes longer. I find at 20 for the time and the energy and the return, that is the best place to farm for me.
Deal with it, nerds.
So now the spider's done, I'll be switching over to Odin's trial. And in the events, that takes us right up almost into finishing off milestone 4 at 970, so we have 30 more points to go. Nice legendary chaos ore, legendary skill tome. And yeah, so with about a week left, 6 days, 7 hours, the 4-star soul is for sure ours. Now, because I had to drop that summon rush at the end of the fusion, I will be hard pressed, so I'll have to get every other point to get 1,500, and with the Deck of Fate coming up, I don't think that's going to be a possibility. So I'll have to content myself with however many rewards of these nice items that I can get before the event is over. Okay, guys, so that's where I am right now. That's my whole thoughts on what the situation is with Raid and Plarium in these days. Clan versus clan, no matter what happens with it, I will be happy. We'll put on a good showing. Winning is not important. I've already let my guys know that, getting the rewards is the main thing, so try to get as high in that. Don't worry too much about the win. Hope your Titan event is continuing well. Hope that despite all the negativity and bitching and everything that's surrounding the game lately, that you're still enjoying it, still plan on continuing developing and play it, and that you're happy doing so. I think it's mostly good for the most part. Hope all is well, of course, in all your other endeavors and your life. And as always, guys, thanks for watching.